roll. Whatever my love, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. Though Satan should buffet, though trials should come, let this blessed assurance come true, that Christ has regarded my helpless estate, and has shed his own blood for my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. And Lord, haste the day when my faith shall be sight, the clouds be rolled back as a scroll, the drum shall resound, and the Lord shall descend. Even so, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. God sent his son, they called him Jesus. He came to love, heal and forgive. He lived and died to buy my pardon. An empty grave is there to prove my Savior lives. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Because I know he holds the future, and life is worth the living just because he lives. How sweet to hold a newborn baby and feel the pride and joy he brings. But greater still, the calm assurance this child can face uncertain days because he lives. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Because I know he holds the future.
say, I had a good time with my father. The best time I ever have in my life is with my dad. Best time. None bad. So, I want to say goodbye. I want to say, when I get there, I'll see you. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Yo, yo.
So put that character. You home?
Nah.
So we gone.
Very well, my wife. How's everything, sir? Yeah.
And if you didn't love him, you certainly admired him. I'm sure there are many who, for some reason, could not be here. But we can only hold so many people here, can't we? So there are over 300 persons here this afternoon, and we'd like to thank you for coming. My role here is not to make any speeches, not to flow with any words, but to help the words to flow from others. We'll be having a number of tributes, in fact 3, and we'll see how it goes if there are others. December 8th, 1932 to November 7th, 2015. I'd like to proceed now as we invite our first tribute maker to come to the podium, Mr. John Horn.
Thank you, Chester. For many of us, we may say it is a sad occasion, but it is nevertheless an occasion on which we should give God thanks. Not only for the life he gave to our brother George, but the contribution this phenomenal man has made to his family, and more so St. Vincent and the Grenadines. On both periods of hospitalization at the Milton Caton Memorial Hospital, I spoke with him, and he was quite collected on the first occasion. We chatted. On the second occasion, his eyes remained closed. But knowing that I'd been in the habit of humoring him, as I arrived on that occasion, I greeted him in the usual way, which he loved. He loved to be given his full name. If you said, "George, how are you?" He said, "George Robert Howard." That's me. That's my name. George loved to be given his full name. A man of humble beginnings and of no real means. He educated himself throughout his life and became a veritable storehouse of knowledge. That knowledge spanned his humble origin and the family from which he came, the communities in which he grew up and lived, the areas of employment he pursued, and the professions he followed. One of their most important credits must be the care and attention, the love and training, the principles of integrity, fairness and honesty that George and Norma instilled in them. The parents were very proud of what their children made of themselves. Whenever one talks to these children, individually or collectively, one is struck by the sense of moral rectitude that pervades their very beings. George had such a strong sense of family that certain experiences of the distant past remained deeply embedded in his memory. He often related the story of a conversation between his mother, Edna, a very dear friend of mine she was, and her mother, his grandmother, affectionately called Ba. Ba was returning home. This is a story, George's own story. Ba was returning home from church one Sunday morning. No doubt it was one of those very early morning services. And upon arriving at Edna's home, she called out to her, "Edna! Edna, oi! Yeah, Ba. What happened? Edna, girl, the world coming to an end." So Edna said, "Ba, what do you mean the world coming to an end?" She said, "Edna, the world coming to an end. A black man preached this morning in the Anglican church." Now that was particularly instructive because it reflected the pattern or habits of the colonial days. And the older ones here will tell you that in that church, the first two black men were one Father Granham and one more familiar to you, Father Woodruff, later Archbishop Woodruff. And neither was Vincentian, by the way. But that was it. So you could imagine the impression that Ba had when for the first time in her life, which wasn't a short life, she had that experience. Now this uncanny ability to add a touch of humor to a very serious matter had come down from Ba to Edna to George. George did indeed have a sense of humor. But you know, people like George Howard, who make such a phenomenal contribution to their countries, often have a downside to them. Not of their own making, but of others. It was most unfortunate and sad, a sad commentary in fact, that a man of impeccable reputation, a man who spent years at the signal station at Fort Charlotte and more years at the Port Authority in Kingstown, the man who established the biggest and most reputable driving school in this country, which exists to this day. In fact, it attests to his management skills and organizational ability that Jill now carries that on from the foundation George had laid. But this man, who more than many justified the role of JP, Justice of the Peace, was known by so many, respected by so many, and respected them as well, had his Justice of the Peace role abruptly and rudely taken from him almost without notice. But you know the old saying, all unfair games must play over. And it is to George's credit that he wasn't fazed by this terrible action taken against him, purely on political grounds. George didn't mind. He was above that. And if you recall his life generally, it was that ability to overcome these difficulties that made him the man we knew him to be. We'll all remember him. We'll cherish those memories. And Norma, we say to you and the children, you played an admirable role. This could never have been a one-sided affair. And I know, Norma, as we spoke last night, time is a great healer. And your faith in God will keep you, will sustain you, and will keep you to cherish his memory, and support the rest of the family, all of whom must be justly proud of this genius that was George Robert Howard. Thank you.
Thank you, John Horn. This tribute is to be followed by Mr. Arnold. Mr. Howard? Okay. Mr. Randolph Howard. If you would come to the podium, we'd be obliged. And in time, we hope that the Honorable Arnold Eustace will follow for his tribute.
Yes? Yes, sir. Thank you. I am Ronnie Howard, the second of 7 boys fathered by my late father, Edward Howard. As fate would have it, the 2 oldest of those boys are still around. The third, Vincent, he left us in 1942. George the 5th has just left us. George will carry on. The oldest of Edward's 7 children, my brother Casson, couldn't be here. He lives at Camden Park at this time. He used to live at Fort Road. Now he has settled at Camden Park. 2 of my brothers are in the United States, Lionel and my brother Cyril. I migrated there many years ago. Following that, I sponsored my brother Lionel to join me. In turn, Lionel sponsored Cyril. We lived as brothers should. A couple of years ago, those of us who were in New York spent an evening together. My daughter's backyard, celebrating the blessings of brothers together. Following that, when I returned here, about a year or so ago, George, my sister-in-law, and all the Howards were able to come. They joined me at Rothermill in celebrating the brothers together. A week ago, I spent minutes alone asking Keith to excuse us with my brother on the sick bed. We spoke. George convinced his brother Ronnie is that Ronnie, I'm willing, ready to go, but I pray God that my wish come true. That wish was put to me in confidence, which I would not repeat. There, as I say, our brother Harold, not able to be with us today, he's in Trinidad. Cyril is not too well. He's in the States, I've already said, and Lionel is there to be a call should Cyril need him for anything. Yes, it is said that if you did not have a daughter, especially with so many children, I will not use the word, but you're not blessed. But my father, he had 7 sons. 5 are still around. And not the 5 youngest, the 2 oldest. The 4th, Lionel. Oh, sorry, the 4th, yes, Lionel. He's still around. George has left us. Cyril and Harold are with us. My brother George, a friend who knew you well, spoke well of you at this tribute. John knew George well. I cannot say more than what John has said. You were, as I am, a family man. We are blessed. Sitting there is my wife of 65 years plus. I'm at her side and she's with me. There is my sister-in-law sitting there. We promise you we'll be here as long as the good Lord keeps us. And this voice that sounds here would be as loud as if my brother George were here. My dear beloved brother, rest in peace. One day I'll join. That is what life is all about. Rest in peace, my brother.
Thank you very much. I have a feeling you'll be with us for a long time, you know, Mr. Howard.
I hope so, sir.
This is a man who still goes to New York to renew his legal license to practice law. So he doesn't plan to give up. At this point, we'd like to invite any of Mr. George Robert Howard's admirers, if you'd like to make a tribute at this time. Yes? Ah, Mr. Eustace is here. Wonderful. You know, this man always just slips in unannounced. The Honorable Arnon Eustace.
I was always here. Good evening, church. I just came from another funeral where I had to pay tribute to another great Vincentian, Douglas Garraway. And now I do the same for Edinburgh man, George Howard. You know, he liked that term. I'm an Edinburgh man. And I can see from the gathering here that that village is well represented here this afternoon. And I regard myself as an Edinburgh man. George Howard was a remarkable person. Remarkable in his simplicity, the way he carried himself. Remarkable for his humility. Remarkable for what he has done for this country and what he has done in relation to the performance of his children and even grandchildren. There's an old Keats poem, and there's a verse which says, "Full many a gem of purest ray serene, the dark unfathomed caves of ocean bare. Full many a flower is born to blush unseen, and waste its sweetness in the desert air." Those words describe a person of talent, born into this world, but in the end, we never heard about their talents. So George Howard does not fit into Keats' poem. Because George Howard is able From humble beginnings to have a remarkable career, look after his family, who have all performed very well. So his flowers won't blush unseen. They are seen for all of us to recognize and to know the contribution that he has made, not only to his family, but the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Who would have thought many years ago that this Edinburgh man would today be so well known in the society because of his contributions on radio and otherwise. And today, something happened on radio which epitomizes his life and his contribution. You know, you have global highlights every Saturday morning, and George Howard always has to say something about that. Today, the host, Luzette King, said he's suspending Global Heights until after George Howard's funeral. That will be called by another name. Call it George. You see, to me, that symbolizes what I'm saying. That here is a man from Edinburgh who came from humble beginnings. He used his head, his thoughts, his belief in his God, and rose to considerable heights in our society, to the point where his death is being recognized in that fashion. And by the numbers who are here this evening, and the calls I've heard, this just gives more credence to his contribution. I remember, well, I've known him all my life because I was born over Edinburgh. And I remember some time ago I was listening to a program and they were talking about cricket. And many of you will know this, but I used to play village cricket for Edinburgh, believe it or not, against some of the other villages in this area. We even played in this cemetery. And George Howard called in and said something which I had to laugh at, because I had a way of batting and I had a good half drive. So they used to call me Ted Dexter. So George Howard came on there to say, tell the public listening to the program that we are serious. His name is Ted Dexter. You know, you look at that man, you know, the way he carried himself, there were no airs about him. He was humble but confident. Confident that he's able to make a significant contribution to our country, regardless of his upbringing. And he did so. He did so to the point where people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, when you say Call it George, everyone knows who you're speaking about. Everyone in this country knows who you're speaking about. And I just want to say to his family, to his wife, you had a good father and a good husband. He has made his mark. His mark has not only enriched your lives, it has enriched the lives of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And for this, we owe him a great debt of gratitude. Gratitude for his contribution. I spent a couple hours with him and my daughter on the very same day that he died. And I recall that he was having difficulty breathing and so on at the time, and he had on the oxygen mask and so forth. But his mind was still very clear. And people would call to find out about his condition, and they would put the radio, you have it, Garnet, they put the radio near to his head, and you would see the change in his countenance as soon as he recognized the voice. I remember the very same Luther King called in that afternoon on the program. And from the time he heard the voice, he picked it up and you can see the agitation. He knew what was happening, but he couldn't speak. He's gone. And the Lord have mercy on his soul. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eustace. We're going to move right along. Of course, you've noticed that there's no priest. I'm the closest that you're going to get to a priest this afternoon. And let me reassure my mother and everybody else that this is also the closest I will get to being a priest this afternoon. So I now inform you that the next item on the program is the hymn, How Great Thou Art. This is also the closest I'm going to get to being a singer, so why don't we all stand and start singing. Oh Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the works thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, when all through all We now call on another Howard, Shirley, to render Psalm 121.
Thank you. If you don't mind, please stand for the reading of the psalm. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. He who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your helper. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time on and forever. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, this now and ever shall be, world without end. Amen.
Get ready to sing again as we proceed with This Is My Story, the hymn, This Is My Story. You waiting for me to start singing again? First I have to find the hymn. Not a good Anglican, am I? I should know this hymn by heart. Where is it? Blessed Assurance? All right. Thank you, Matthew.
Praise my
you very much. Now, as you know, this man who we've come here to pay our last respects to, George Robert Howard, he was not an ordinary man, and he believed that all men were created equal, and on this earth they certainly are. He had quite a number of children. He was a real nation builder in more ways than one. And those nation builders that he produced, in fact, you know, all the Howards are great nation builders. They're a family, they're an outstanding family in this country. They've got a special DNA, every single one of them. And you haven't seen the great things from them yet, I'm sure. A lot of things to come. So this is their story, and we remember the story. His children are now going to deliver several eulogies in one. As I said, the Howards are not an ordinary family. So we're going to hear from them as they eulogize the most important man in their life, their father, George Robert Howard. We'll begin with Don.
A very pleasant good afternoon. Yes, this man was different. And what we're experiencing today is funeral management, how we style. Because I was in New York a week ago with my own issues when the news came that he passed. And not only that, but my mother sent a message by an emissary. You see, she couldn't trust me to give me the message myself because I may have done different. But she sent it by my wife. And if my mother and my wife gang up on me, what should I do? But life is full of complications, of differences. Now today some of the people who are studying sciences cannot figure out all that is life. And sometimes when you say George Howard is your father and I am a Providence, I have great difficulty in explaining it. But if you listen, you'll see how this came about, because in the process of sciences and biology, we know that there are certain processes involved in making a child. But somehow they were able to organize all this thing, and so I have a name. And I wanted to make my speech. Oh, I forget to tell you something. When I was told I had to bury him, you know how it taught us management. So I called my brother Keith. I said, look, this is what we have to do. You see, a good manager should be able to delegate. Right? And how he did that very well. So Keith had to do certain things, and he would get, so he set up a chain of command. So Chester is running things today, and somebody is doing something else. So this was funeral management, how we style. Anyhow, back to my story. I remember coming into the Howard family about 55 years ago. And one day there was a very important incident which changed my whole outlook on life. I think I may have been washing ways. And you must wash ways without any grease in it. And when Norma Howard examined that, and it has grease in it, you're in trouble. Anyhow, so she may have noticed that I had grease again. and she came out with the bullwood. Now, anytime you see that bullwood, you know you're supposed to go in the other direction. And I tried to do that. But somehow, a missile took me down. Yes. I do not remember whether it was the plate or stone. And before I could get up, it was rain like thunder and blows. And like heaven opened and God sent an angel to help me out of my misery. And there was Howie and Mommy tussling, right? So I just eased out because you know you're not supposed to run too much and make the more. So while I'm bawling, I'm looking to the corner of my eye and see him trying to get with the bullwood because he said, leave the boy alone. A father is there to protect his children. And that was very important to me. And you see, I don't want to tell you what the others would say. I want to give you history in Call It George. So when I finished school, my mother made it clear to me, you can't stay home. You have to go and look for work. So Howie organized some work for me. And imagine that. I'm getting $1.50 a day. And he's telling me I have to give my mother something. You know, $1.50 a day. You know, that was a lesson in economics, how we studied. And then, as fate would have it, I was successful in school leaving, and I got a job. And now I'm getting $30 a month. And I'm feeling good that my schoolmates, I can treat them on weekends and so on. And how he came and he said, you know what? You have to join Building and Loan. And you have to join Penny Bank. Troubling me now. So, saving. Without saving, you cannot achieve anything. Okay? And telling you about the man who was to be my father. Work is very important. Very important. And I remember one time at the fort signal station, they would put flags up and they put it up on that pole. I don't know if any one of you would know what the pole is like at the signal station. It's like a lamp pole. And something went wrong. So it meant in order for the ships and whatever to get that signal, somebody must go up there, climb the pole. And who do you think did that? Not me, he did it. That showed leadership. And if that was not all, there was another incident where, you know, in those days the prisoners would be able to roam free and people would go up the fort to the back in an area that we call Donkey Pen, to lime out. And I don't know, but two prisoners bounced upon this man and the girl, and they chased the man and started them to do their own thing. And who turned up on the scene to battle two prisoners? Howie. One guy was saying, look, Howie, I ain't finished. You know, you will do that. So that showed bravery, it showed leadership. And so what I want to say is that to those of us men, it takes more than just the sperm to produce a child. It's the quality, it's the leadership. So today, Howie has raised us and given each of us a different role. And we hope that with the help of the community and our family, we'll be able to carry on his legacy. So, when I'm being asked, how this man become your father, I have it all here. It's not by biology, is through the business cycle, because he was serious when it came to business, because he showed us that we must be independent. But it's not my role to tell you that. I just told you what is different and what you now know us. So when you write in history, you can now put in the historical perspective of how you can have a child without artificial insemination. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. So next up will be Alonzo, and of course, as I said before, the Howard family is multi-dimensional, multi-talented, and they can play the instrument of the Caribbean. So that's coming up, and we'd like to page Saeed to come backstage, if you will. Saeed, are you in the audience? That is, of course, George Howard's great nephew. So please come backstage. There he is, the young star. You'll be hearing a lot more about him in the near future as well. Saeed will be playing, as will Kiwi, the grandson of George R. So the talent just rolls out. Okay, I hand you over now to Alonzo to give his mini eulogy.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm not really too good at this. So, some of the incident I had with my father is with my mother and father there. We used to bake bread up at the fort, and every Saturday we go to carry up the stuff to bake the bread. Daddy will go sleep, burn all the bread. Mommy knows she will make a whole set of night, and like, it ain't really bother Daddy, you know it. He just ain't digging up. We just got to eat the burn bread on Sunday morning. But at that time, that like on Christmas time, Mommy gave me chance again to bake the cake. Same thing, that man burn all the cake up. But we didn't like when he burned the cake up because we used to get it. Christmas, then Daddy tell we used to depend on Miss Hamlet to send over the stuff for us. But it wasn't really that easy for Mommy. Daddy wasn't that good all the time. Imagine Daddy, Mommy will tell Daddy, we need something to cook for lunch because he's going down at the port. Daddy said, okay, I'll bring it. You know Daddy will come up 12 o'clock with nothing. And then Mommy, she's a trip too. She just prepares something for Daddy's self eating. I mean, it wasn't all that good. He used to really drive out the water. You know another thing, I never really even see like they fight one another. Mommy will curse and Daddy will just go in the bedroom and just lay down. Another thing, with the soup, it looked like Mommy, she spied Daddy because she know Daddy don't like soup. Cooking soup. So, Daddy will just come from when he brings us up from lunchtime, soup, and he stick straight in the bedroom. And then back to work, we just go without food. And she ain't digging nothing. But another thing that I admire with my father is that he teaches us all to drive. But this time, I could have drive, but he want me to start teaching people to drive. I was around 16. And he will carry me with him on all the morning. I just drive behind him, I'm not teaching, so he drive me in. One day, he was teaching the lady, Miss Ballantyne, the one that used to work with Habititi. I driving behind them at by the moon day. That time it has some banana trees down at the airport. And I just miss him. He just went straight over the bank. And then when I go around the other side by airport, in my lawn, he just drives straight out. And he ain't digging nothing. That horrible incident we done bottom Edinburgh. The Lord was in with Daddy. That time he used to be in the vehicle. He never used to really let it drive. Somebody called Mom and tell her Daddy upside down. Next thing he come home, his glass all over him and he just ain't digging up. That's how bad. That's about it with me and my father.
Thank you, Alonzo. Keith has a hard act to follow because he's coming up next. I thought you said you weren't good at this, Alonzo. All right, well, I know Keith is a good talker and he has a lot of stories.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to remember my father as an entrepreneur. I think, you know, he had a knack for business. You know, from the age of 5, he told us that he had his own business, selling sugar cake. He was selling sugar cake with our aunt, our great aunt, Aunt Annie. He would go around and get the coconut and they would grate them and she made the sugar cake and he would walk around Edinburgh and sell the sugar cake to everyone. Later, as he got older, in his teens, he decided he's going to start a business. So he built a little building, 4 by 6, and he called it Meek. So that was his beginning of his business career, a shop called Meek. He would buy and sell. He would buy bread, sugar, everything in Kingston, push it up to Edinburgh on a cart, and start selling to the people of Edinburgh. One day, he said he was waiting for his cart man. Now, he would buy the goods, put them in the cart, and push the cart man up the hill to Edinburgh. So he decided, he was waiting for his cart man one day, and he saw a taxi driver by the name of Pinder. He said, Pinder asked him, what you doing here, Howie? He said, I'm waiting for my cart man. He said, what's cart man? He said, to take my goods home. He said, but I have a taxi. I'll take them up for you. So they put them in the taxi, take them to Edinburgh. He paid Pinder 75 cents was the cost of that trip. He used to pay the cart man $1 to push the cart man. So he said, you know, business is planning, so you have to start planning. Don't go until you start business without planning, because we don't know what is out there. Put your business plan in place. So that is what he was telling me there. You know, George started teaching people to drive. And he decided, well, you know, I want to take this to the next level. What he did, he said, you know, time we get on and get a driving school together. So he decided that we're going to start our driving school. So he bought a few vehicles and he stick up everything and decide our driving school. That was the beginning of our driving school. To the end he said, I have the only driving school in St. Vincent. All the others are evening classes. That was the lie. He came and he decided that he going to start to sell some lottery. And he started his lotto booth in Kingston. Started his lotto booth, he said, I'm going to make some money for the lottery. They don't know how to make money. So he started selling lottery. For all the years that he's been selling lottery, he had sold the most lottery every single year for the lottery in St. Louis. And he did that by just being himself. People will come to Howie and say, Howie, why is he winning number? And he'll say 742. And they say, okay, we'll buy that. He said, then when he said, try it again next week, man, you're coming next week. And probably people start winning. One incident that had one gentleman who came by his lottery book. He said he won the lottery. And my sister Jill was about to kill this man. Because this man said, the number 10 call. And he said, the guy had took the number 1. And with the lottery, when he print 1, he put 01. And this guy telling him 01 is 10. And Jill keep arguing with this guy and saying, you're stupid or what? 01 is 1, 10 is 10. How he come between the two of them, save Jill from getting herself killed with this man. I said, man, don't worry with her. Let me see. Man, don't worry. Go by the lot and tell them you win. He said, how you? They said, man, wait. Don't worry them. You don't worry them. The chief. And you play again. Play 10 and 01, and you'll see what happens. And the fellow was very happy, and he walked away. All right, Howie, you're the best man, them bitch thief. So he was able to sell his lottery by just telling people what he feels. Buy this number, yes, that is a good number. You don't win that one. That will come next week. He also revolutionized phone card sales. He took phone cards from Cable Wireless and DigiCell and made $1 million business out of it by simply going around and putting all the street vendors on the road selling phone cards. Today we see hundreds of them as a result of George R. Howard. Call that George. George, as he is, was a very good man from fun. He did it with humor. He did it without any anatomies, and anybody had to say anything bad about him. That was the man. Today, we should call that George.
Thank you, Keith. Yes, George Howard was a revolutionary. I don't know if you know that. But revolutionaries come in all forms. You know, when you think of a revolutionary, you think of Fidel Castro or people like that. But, you know, Jesus of Nazareth was a revolutionary. Martin Luther was a revolutionary. Martin Luther King was a revolutionary. Malcolm X. And we could go on. And George Howard was a revolutionary. But he was sort of a benevolent revolutionary. And he passed on his seed, he passed on his DNA to his children. You know, Jill, she don't rest uneasy. So, you know, she's a revolutionary for sure. Keith is a revolutionary. Alonzo is a revolutionary, you know. And they all have this, you know, as if they're so easy and quiet and they're the nicest people in the world, but they're revolutionaries. So, speaking of revolutionary, I understand that actually I heard that just as I turned on Nice Radio on the day that George passed, and I heard Doug saying, I just got the last bit of it, yes, so he passed it on to the white man, so I am going to take it from here. So, take it from here, Doug.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Douglas Howard, but most people call me Doug Howard. And I live up in New York. And because my father was such a revolutionary, I have a letter to read from some special people up in New York. I would ask my wife to read it for me.
St. Paul's Community Baptist Church, to the family of the late George Howard. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. Ecclesiastes 3:1, 2, and 4. During this season, we encourage you to lean on the powerful words of Scripture and the eternal promise of God like never before. We know that your hearts are heavy now, but as your church family, we gather around in love to remind you that your hope must stay fixed on Christ the solid rock. Our prayers and thoughts are truly with you in this time. Though your loved one has transitioned, God is still God, all wise, all knowing, all loving, and he still has a plan at work. During this trying time, draw on your memories for comfort and lean on God alone for strength. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus until that day of blessed reunion in our Father's eternal home. Sincerely, our pastor in New York, Reverend David Keith Brawley, lead pastor. Thank you.
Thank you. I am a Christian. A lot of people say I'm a Rasta. I love the Rasta religion, but I'm a Christian. And my dad passed away on the 7th of November at 2:02 a.m. In New York, it was 1:02. And I think he had to wait. I think he wanted to go because you know his time on this earth was up. And it's time for him to go on to be with his Creator, the Most High God. So, my father was a brain, even unto death. He hold that back until the 7th of November, which happens to be my birthday. And I don't know how much Peggy promised death in the backyard to stay until the 7th. But that's the way it is sometimes. My father was a dimensional man, eh? He had his ways as a family man. Never beat us too much. Very few of them he beat. I must be getting most licks out from him anyway, from him. My mother will deal with the corporate punishment. But my father just have to look at you. And you get the message 10 times more than you get with the licks. Trust me. And that. So he's a real disciplinarian. And you don't have to take a belt to do it. You just have to give you an eye. Okay? So, he was a man who produced a lot of business. But he also was a man of social justice. And he hated wrongdoings. He hated thieves. He hated dishonest people. Really hate them. You feel if you want something, you must work for it. And he teach every one of us to work for what you want. And don't depend on nobody for a job. Be your own boss. Today we stand on the pinnacle that 7 children, and only one of them working for somebody. That's me. Would you believe that? Every one of them works for themselves. But don't worry, the kind of work I do, the People need me more than I need them sometimes. So, sometimes I feel they're working for me. Okay? Yeah, I drill tunnels under the ground. 600, 800 feet under the ground. I sit most every night working in tunnels. That's what I do. So, you see, I can't own my own business. It's $1 billion American business. Anyway, but my father is a man of social justice. And he hates wrongdoers. So that's where his politics come in. And that's where I come in. You know? Because I talk to my father every day. Sometimes 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day. I just had to call him. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you switch to Star FM? You better switch over there. You got some good talk over there. That's what I do. Because I want to hear how this country that I was born in is going to run, so I could feel comfortable coming back with my children and my grandchildren to the land of my birth. And right now I feel like coming back. And I really don't want my children to come back to a land that we have now. So for that, I believe in my father's hearts of heart. He told me, he said, Douglas, this is over 3 years ago. He said, boy, change coming in this country. I said, of course it's coming. He said, but I ain't going to be around for it. I said, why are you talking stupidness? When you ain't going to be around, you'll be around for plenty of this. Keep telling me that for the last 3 years. Like I said, I've talked to my dad 2, 3, 4 times of this. Sometimes I talking to him for like 2 hours one time. My mother say, you still on the phone? He said, yeah, talking to Douglas. And my wife said, you still on your phone? I said, yeah, talking to my father. So here I am in America. My wife said, you still on the phone? And I hear my mother in the back, you still on the phone? Still on the phone. And we talking one thing. We talking politics, how to get this country running, how to get it moving, how to get people from begging and working. That's what me and my dad talk about. We talk about social justice. You know? Because when I went to New York, I know nothing but social justice. And I joined a church, St. Paul's Community Baptist Church, that the letter just was read from. And it's a church that promotes nothing but social justice for people. Because we are all human beings, and we all have a right to eat where we're born. That's what we have. We have that right. And my father was fighting for that right for years. And like I say, he hates dishonesty. He hates when you're paying people $200 a month and knowing people can't live on that. It's not a living wage. He never hired nobody and pay them that kind of money. They send some people from some program and they're selling them at $400 a month. My father said, I don't want none of them because I cannot pay nobody $400 a month. What is that? If I started anybody off, I started them at $750 or better. So my father was a man of social justice. He wants social change. Like I say, he said change is coming. So I am just here to cement that the change is coming that my father talked about. And the change I talking about is changing the government on the 9th day. He said that any change I'm talking about, the change has to come. My father told my brother, this one. He said, listen, if you have to carry me in a stretcher, let me tell you, if you have to carry me in a stretcher and take my finger to vote for me, you better vote for me. But check this out. My father checked out on the 7th of November, which is the 7th of my birthday, and in the 7th they call the election. So the 3-7 clash, and now the change half is in progress. The change is in progress. So now, the only thing I have to say, my father asked my brother to take him from his hospital bed to vote for the change. My father can't make that vote. So for any of you who still sitting on the political fence, it's time for you to make the change that my father wants. Thank you.
So there you go. Revolutionary. Okay, at this time, if we could ask you to change the atmosphere just a little bit, because we have another cortege, another funeral procession coming in to the cemetery. So we've been asked if we could just pause momentarily, and that is what we'll do at this time. Come forward, and this will be Neil.
It was time I saw my father cry. I think it was and his only time anyhow. 1973 it was. I was 13 years old then. Taking an approach in Barbados. And we used to live, not where we live in now today, above our grandmother. And he was in pain walking up because I was too young to help him. The last 2 times he came out of the house, I lift him up like a baby and take him to the car because I had his strength in him. And I tell him, hold me tight. So I hold like this. And he held me real tight. Because he went to hospital twice. And as he was there, he said, nah, I don't want to help. And I wish today that the hospital was in Georgetown, the proposed one. And I would walk in there. We'd still be walking. Somehow, some way, I always challenged Daddy, different than Douglas, in his last years. Because when he told me about the airport in Beckway, I said, man, you can't see that's wrong. He opened it on his birthday and the name and the this and that. Somehow he just couldn't sit. So I always like to make him think differently and see things in another light. And somehow he like a challenge. Sometimes. In a couple months ago, it had something in the newspaper regarding something. So he called me. He said, you in the newspaper? I said, nah. And then he proceeded to tell me the story. That's why I can't comment it because I don't know the whole story. But if it was this, I would say this and that. And I start giving him my line, which is not his line. All of a sudden he said, hold on a minute. Talk to your mom. Because he could handle me with something essential. And that is how I like to remember him. Sometimes you don't want to listen to the camp. And all of the time, I'm the dissent. Which is a good thing. We all can't think the same way. This world never be the same, everybody think the same way. In last, I would say 20, I left in 84. Only the house we live in now, when it was built, I was the only one around. And as I was sailing, Douglas was in America, Ghana was in PSP, Dad not married, I'm the only one. And I tell him, why this guy Lester anymore? I said, nah, Lester old now and he's drinking too much. If anyone ever went there today and see the house, the stone wall, is Lester come back after wanting Mr. Classical son and shoot it out. But that's how he was. That's how he was. Hopefully, people will remember him not only for the politics, which that take a whole lot of him in the last 20 years. When I was growing up, I never know who my father voted for. Never. because there was no politics as far as he concerned. His politics was those old cars. Once those cars working right, then the sun could stop shining. One day came home, he said, "What do you want to be?" I said, "I want to be a sailor." That time bank was a big thing. I said, "I ain't no job. You have to be a mechanic." Because the car was giving him trouble. If you notice, that's with everyone got some kind of mechanic in there, because he always want to get those cars ready for the loaders, because remember that's his job, and somehow if the car is working right, that is good. If the car is not working right, then he's sick. Not only car sick, he's sick too. But that's how he was. His car was his business. That's before I left. When I came back, 92, when he was 6 years when he retired from the customs, I met a changed man. He had new cars. What? New cars? No, we don't get old cars. My whole growing up life, I was only 24 years old. You must have a 5th or 10th hand car. And I was okay. I had no products, he had no products. And I meet new cars, so things is different. All I want to do is lay hold again and walk again. One more time.
So he made it and he didn't cry. Okay, so you see the variety coming out in George Howard's children. And there's more variety to come still with his great nephew and his grandson, Saeed and Kiwi, who will play pan, solo, and together. They're going to do an act for you. That's coming up. George also planned ahead. Obviously, he knew that he was making plans to exit this realm, and he told his children what he wanted, and he requested How Great Thou Art to be played by Saeed, and that's what will happen. Yeah, I know, they're coming up. The organizer is right here. So, we're done with the boys, we're going to move to the girls, and we're going to ask Jill to come forward.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so blessed and glad to be the daughter of George Robert Howard. And I will carry that name until I die, Howard. I know my dad, he loved me and I love him. You don't know how much I love him right now, because I got to give him the last drop of water. Amen. I just built my house, and he wasn't in the spirit, he wasn't in the strength to help me. When I saw him got sick, I wanted him to eat. I said, "Daddy, get up and eat. Let me feed you. I want you to go up into my house and sleep at night with me and Mommy." He turned to me and he said to me, "I'm feeling so proud and happy for you that you build a house on your own without the strength of me. I feel like if I sleep in the house already." He said, "Continue to go on in life." He said, "You gave me something so great and wonderful." My dad never really beat me. One time my dad beat me. And I think when my brothers and them get licks, I would make faces for them. And I make face to Neil. And Neil turned to Douglas and he started fighting. And I was in the middle. If I didn't make the face, I wouldn't get it. and my dad beat me. That was the only time I remember my dad beating me. My mother always beat her. But mommy, I'm so glad the way you and daddy bring me up, because that bring me the person I am today. And I'm proud and happy for you all. My dad asked me to do something for him. I used to go to the hospital every morning, 5 o'clock, to help to see to my dad, or at home to help to see to him. If I pass 50 times in Edinburgh, I have to stop and see to him. He would tell me, come and see to me, come and see to me. And I feel good. He'd tell me to carry on driving school. Don't give up.
That's right.
He said, work until you can't walk no more.
Amen.
He said, it will be a time your body will tell you, hold up, it's no more.
That's true.
He said, you see, when I gave up driving, the last person pushed me over Sand Hill. And after that, I call it off. He said, when you see somebody push you over bank, leave it alone. That means your brain isn't ticking. So the driving school will continue to go on, Daddy, and I will take care of Mommy as you asked me to. I really hope that I ain't dead before her. Thank you, Dad. I love you. I did do something for him. I take my mom at my home and spend a day, half day. I said, Mommy, you're gonna sleep with me tonight, right? She said, no. I'm going back in my house. But Mommy, trust me, you're gonna sleep with me a weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And moving right along to the final eulogizer this evening, this afternoon, and that would be Colette. The most technology-savvy one, obviously.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Villette, and I'm the last child of George and Norma Howard. I had the opportunity to spend a tremendous amount of time with my father. All my school life, he drove me to school each morning. So I had time to learn the things that have helped me to chart my own destiny. My biggest lesson from Daddy was to seek truth for yourself. And this seeking truth for yourself is a fundamental Baha'i principle. I was born a Baha'i, but I'm a Christian today. And during that time, that was one of the things that was pounded into my head. Don't listen to what people say. So this was one of my fundamental lessons from him. And I am a lot less stressed in my life because of it. This seeking of truth has transcended my professional life, my personal life, and my spiritual life, my business decisions, and my friendships. And with God's help, when I find the truth of a matter that concerns me, I hold my course. His motto was, we lead the way, and others merely follow. He would also tell me, everybody in this place, meaning Edinburgh and St. Vincent and a lot of the persons he knew, started with nothing. So when you see Mr. X and you see Miss Y behaving in their way, you don't worry with them. And he would give me the history, or should I say, his story of them. He said, you must know how to mix with every and anybody. He would say, nobody is better than you, and you ain't better than nobody. All of we come from the same struggle. So he removed the inferiority complex that so many people try to use to keep us bound. Like every eagle that wants to see their young ones soar, they throw them out of the nest. But that was not a trait that my father had. That may be a good thing or a bad thing, but this one jumped out of the nest. The evidence of the various vocations of my siblings and I is as a result of the drilling into our heads that we are to work hard for what we want. But he always gave me this story. When you are going to plead your case, go alone. So he shared the story of when he was a guard at the Port Authority and everybody was arguing about not having raincoats. So he told his co-workers, let's go to the boss, and that time I think it would have been Marcus Thomas, and tell him we need this sorted out. Nobody wanted to go. But Daddy went alone. He asked for his raincoat, and he was the only one who got it at the time. And he told me this story over and over as we drove to school. And today, I am better for it. I go alone if no one wants to go with me. That is, once God is with me. Daddy made adjustments so that I could succeed. When my then sister-in-law told him that he was bringing me to school too late at lunchtime, and mind you, that he took a nap every lunchtime, so that ensured me being late every single day. So he stopped napping during lunch so that I could get to school on time and have a good record. He told me, don't beg anybody for anything. Work for what you want. When his adopted mother wanted to leave me some lands as a memorial to my father, he said, too much confusion surrounding that. I was not happy then, but he enforced in me again, work for what you want. So even today, I run when I see confusion, and I work hard to achieve my own goals. You know, he was a very active advocate of the New Democratic Party, and many times we would clash because I would not agree with everything that he says. But with my own husband being a very active advocate for the other party, I became caught between a rock and a hard place, but they couldn't pin me down. So many times it was very stressful. So it's not going to be stressful anymore because one has gone to a better place. So I shall live in peace. But you know what Daddy would tell me? Leave the man alone. Let him go on campaign. Your mother could have never stopped me from PPP, so leave him alone. So my husband knows for many years I have left him alone. He is free to do as he wishes. But Daddy would say, if he runs for government, tell him I go vote for him. So Daddy had that side. So Frankie, you have his vote. So he gave me many great memories that I've just shared with you. But there's the greatest of memories that has me, in spite of everything, it is my greatest treasure. And I've shared it with a few persons, but now I will share it with everyone here. My father made a pact with God in 1973, the year after I was born. He had developed Hodgkin's disease, the disease that killed his father around the age of 38 years. With that experience, my father, whose life, which was set for smooth sailing, I have a bookmark, and on it you would see my grandfather, and that would have been in the 1930s, and he was dressed regally in a suit. And to have had a picture taken of your family in those days, you must have been well set. So, one second. All right, so let me get back. So with the experience of the Hodgkin's disease, Daddy asked the Lord to spare his life to see his children get big. So when he laid in the hospital in Barbados, he was undergoing chemotherapy treatment. But he had a bath which he should not have had, and it severely burnt him. So he said, reminiscing on the impact that the loss of a father had on young children, it caused him to ask God to spare his life to see his children get big, as mommy had no one to help her with all these children. He had refused to go overseas when he was strong to England or to the other greener pastures. So he was seeking additional time from God to return to St. Vincent to raise his children. And God granted him that blessing. He treasured it, and he worked hard to provide. And he did so successfully, and I am very thankful. So I sought in my own way, while he was alive, to repay him as I could, and to honor him as a father. Many of my concepts were contrary to his ideas, so one of my hardest lessons was to let go and let God, so that peace could reign. And that was the most important and most painful of my lessons. But I propose that there was one thing I refused to give up on, and that was ensuring that I gave myself the chance to see my father after death. So today, I do not guess, I do not speak as rhetoric, that death did not have the final say when Daddy called it George on November 7th. When he got ready to go to the hospital for what became his final trip, we spoke, and I reminded him that he may die soon given his condition. I asked him if he wanted to say the sinner's prayer, and as he may find out over the other side that what the Bible said about Jesus being the only way into heaven was true, and it would have been too late. He agreed, and in his own way, he prayed the sinner's prayer very loud before he took his final bath, washing off what he called enough dirt to plant yam. So today, I am extremely happy, more than anything else. And I have what is called a peace that passeth all understanding, that is unshakable and nothing can move me. Sad that he has died, but because death is inevitable, I am at peace, because like the thief on the cross, once there is life, there is hope. What a God we serve. I give all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise to God. And I say, call that George.
Thank you for that. We move forward now, completing the eulogies from these outstanding offspring of an outstanding man. And we'll ask John Horn to come forward to render a poem for us.
Thank you, Chester. I understand that this was George's favorite poem, which he had often repeated. It's entitled The Burial of Sir John Moore, 1870, by Charles Wolfe. Not a drum was heard, not a funeral note, as his course to the rampart we hurried. Not a soldier discharged his farewell shot, o'er the grave where our hero we buried. We buried him darkly at dead of night, the sods with our bayonets turning, by the struggling moonbeams' misty light, and the lantern dimly burning. No useless coffin enclosed his breast, nor in sheet nor in shroud we wound him, but he lay like a warrior taking his rest, with his martial cloak around him. Few and short were the prayers we said, and we spoke not a word of sorrow, but we steadfastly gazed on the face that was dead, and we bitterly thought of the morrow. We thought, as we hollowed his narrow bed and smoothed down his lonely pillow, that the foe and the stranger would tread o'er his head, and we far away on the billow. Likely they'll talk of the spirit that's gone and all his cold ashes upbraid him. But little he'll reck if they let him sleep on in the grave where a Briton has laid him. But half of our heavenly task was done when the clock struck the hour for retiring, and we heard the distant and random gun that the foe was sullenly firing. Slowly and sadly we laid him down from the field of his fame, fresh and gory. We carved not a line, and we raised not a stone, but left him alone with his glory.
Thank you. Thank you. Kiwi, if you'd approach now. Kiwi, the grandson of George Howard, son of Keith, will render Psalm 23.
Good evening. The scripture reading is taken from Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie in green pastures. He restoreth. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guided me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
Thank you, Kiwi. All right, Kiwi will be coming back up in a different modus, that of band player. So, first we have Saeed Bowman, who will render How Great Thou Art, as requested by his great uncle, and Kiwi will be joining him on the second song. So we just move this podium and get that done. Thank you very much, Saeed and Kiwi. Exceptionally well done. Saeed is, of course, practicing all the time. And Kiwi is studying engineering. Doesn't have a lot of time to play piano, I suppose. Excellent stuff, guys. Thank you so much. Almost thought I'd hear applause coming from there. He must be very happy. Okay, so let's move forward. Kyle, who is son of Villette, please come forward to share Psalm 91 with us. Oh, I beg your pardon. Corey? All right.
Can you all stand for the reading of the word? It's taken from Psalm 91. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, He is my rock and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Surely He shall deliver me from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. He will cover me with He will cover you with His pinions, and under His wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness is a shield and buckler. You will not fear the arrow. You will not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in darkness, nor the destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but they will not come near you. You will look only with your eyes and see the reward of the wicked, because you have made the Lord, my dwelling place, even the Most High, your refuge. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. For He will give His angels charge over you to guard you in all your ways. On their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone. You will tread on the lion and the serpent, the young lion and the snake you will trample underfoot. Because He holds fast to me in love, I will deliver Him. I will protect Him because He knows my name. When He calls to me, I will answer Him. I will be with Him in trouble. I will rescue Him and honor Him. With long life I will satisfy Him and show Him my salvation. It's time to read the word of God.
Thank you, Corey. I'd like to invite the Guardsman staff now, who are going to render a song for us. So if the Guardsman staff would quickly come to the podium and share their lovely voices with us. No bass voices, just the ladies. Ah, yes, sorry.
Okay, pleasant good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of Guardsman SPG Limited, we want to extend our deepest condolences to the Howard's family and friends on the passing of George Howard. And this afternoon we're going to render a song, When the Ocean Rise and Thunder Roll, I will soar with you above the storm. In every storms of life, God is always there with us and for us. And we want the Howards to take heart that God is going to soar with you in your time of bereavement.
Hide me now under your wings. Cover me within your mighty
joy, oh Lord, will be my strength. Renouncing fear, we stand in your glorious wave. When
The ocean rise and turns abroad, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the floods. I will be still, know you are God. I will be still, know you are God. 'Cause when the ocean rise and turns around, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the floods. I will be still, know you are God. I will be still, know you are God. When the ocean rise and turn, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the floods. I will be still, know you are God. I will be still, know you are God. You are king over the flood, and I will be still, know you are God. I will be still, know you are God.
Thank you very much. We now invite Emily Providence to share with us a Baha'i reading.
Good afternoon, everyone. As I was sitting there, I just got this feeling that George wants us to say something for protection. We listen to the news, all what's going on. Somebody can just walk with a bomb into a place, people are sitting and blow everyone up. So we need protection all over the world, here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I'll read a prayer for protection from the Baha'i faith. In the name of God, the Lord of overpowering majesty, the all-compelling, hallowed be the Lord in whose hand is a source of dominion. He created whatsoever he willeth by his word of command be, and it is. His hath been the power of authority, herefore, and it shall remain his hereafter. He maketh victorious whomsoever he pleaseth, through the potency of his behest. He is in truth the powerful, the almighty. Unto him pertaineth all glory and majesty in the kingdoms of revelation and creation, and whatever lieth between them. Verily, he is the potent, the all-glorious. From everlasting, he hath been the source of indomitable strength, and shall remain so until everlasting. He is indeed the Lord of might and power. All kingdoms of heaven and earth, and whatever lie between them, are God's, and his power is supreme over all things. All the treasures of earth and the heaven, and everything between them are his, and his protection extended over all things. He is the creator of the heavens and the earth, and whatever lieth between them. And he truly is a witness over all things. He is the Lord of reckoning for all that dwell in heaven and earth, and whatever lieth between them. And truly, God is swift to reckon. He setteth the measure assigned to all who are in heaven and earth, and whatever lieth between them. Verily, he is the supreme protector. He holdeth in his grasp the keys of heaven and earth, and of everything between them. At his own pleasure doth he bestow gifts through the power of his command. Indeed, his grace encompasseth all, and he is the all-knowing. Say, God sufficeth unto me. He is the one who holdeth in his grasp the kingdom of all things, through the power of his host of heaven and earth, and whatever lieth between them. He protecteth whomsoever among his servants he willeth. God, in truth, keepeth watch over all things. Immeasurably exalted art thou, O Lord. Protect us from what lieth in front of us and behind us, above our heads and on our right and on our left, below our feet and over side to side, which we are exposed. Verily, thy protection over all things is unfailing. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. So when we sing the final hymn, that will take us to the gravesite. So as you sing, just move to the gravesite. Now we'll invite Keith to deliver some last wishes.
Good evening again. I would just like to let you know the last wishes of my father. He had several, but I'll just briefly let you know. My father was a simple man, humble. He never wanted a reserved seat in his funeral. That's why we're sitting like this. He said, every man on earth is equal in the sight of God. So I don't want any reserved seat in my funeral. So the family must sit, as you see everyone sitting together. His other wish is that his children, he made 6 of them, and the 6 of them is to take him to his grave and lay him down. No one else should touch his coffin, but his 6 children, laid by Don, his stepson. So we will ask you, let him get his wish. 6 children that he made, put him in the earth, where do that. He also asked to be buried naked. We have to tell him sorry. We could not allow that. So we decided to put him in a box. He said to me before, he said, look, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is holding some money for me up at the NIS. Take that money to Mr. Cedric Mills and tell him to bury me with that. I didn't say so. The government said that. Anyone who wants anything more than that, give him himself. So we gave him his wish also. So, and I know he was very serious when he said he wanted to be very naked, because he had already made arrangement with Al Green. I don't know if you say Al Green, to make a piece of wood so that he won't drop too hard on the dirt. Al Green called me a few days ago, asked me if I'm ready for the piece of wood. I said, what wood? He said, to put your father on. But we didn't get that wish. George, we're sorry we didn't make you that wish, but we have to call that George.
Thank you very much, Keith. And with that, we come to the end. We now ask you to join together and sing it. The Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force Band Umbrella Company. If any of you want bookmarks,
I'm tired. Yeah, rich Maria. Yeah, because my shoes taken in the mall. Right down, now to be careful.
Flowers. Stop.
Right, you're going right now. Yeah.
You're checked out. I'm ready to come over here by a whole. One of mine. Something. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, see, that's it. Hold on. Extra. Set it, President, let it out.
You could see.
We're going to send our father on the great piano to start a new life, because the Baha'is, death is an open door to new life. We come in this world and we go to the hereafter. While we are here, we have to develop spiritual feet and ears and eye. For example, a baby in its womb do not need hands and ears and so on. So we develop our spiritual qualities, our spiritual feet, so that when we go in the hereafter, we can continue to travel throughout the world and so on. And for the Baha'i funeral, this is the only requirement we say a prayer, because we believe that the spirit now go back to its creator. It may be different from you, but at least for how we call it George, it's another lesson in Baha'i funeral manner. Oh my God, this is thy servant and the son of thy servant, who have believed in thee and in thy signs, and have set his face towards thee, wholly detached from all except thee. Thou art verily of those who show mercy to the merciful. Deal with him, O thou who forgivest the sins of men and concealest their faults, as beseemeth the heaven of thy bounty and the ocean of thy grace. Grant him admission within the precincts of thy transcendent mercy, that was before the foundation of earth and heaven. There is no God but thee, the ever forgiving, the most generous. Allow of her, allow of her, allow of her, allow of her, allow of her. We all verily worship God. 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 We all verily all verily worship God. We all verily worship God. We all verily worship God. We all verily bow down before 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 God. We all verily are devoted unto 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 God. We all verily give praise 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 unto God. We all verily yield thanks 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 unto God. We all verily are patient in 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 God. And now you can say our silent prayer for Howie as he goes to the next division of transition. Ashes to ashes. Love you.
That's right.
We will crown them a garment to wear. Go to the road, maybe white, they can be whiter than snow. We will crown them with roses to wear. Oh, we will crown them with roses, crown them with roses, crown them with roses to wear. Oh, we will crown them with roses, crown them with roses, crown them with roses, crown them with roses to wear. Oh, we will crown them with roses, crown them with roses, crown them with roses to wear. I want to go, I want to go, I want to go in the land when I die. Oh, there is peace in the land. I'm waiting on when peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. Though Satan should buffet, though trials should come, let this blessed assurance come true, that Christ has regarded my helpless estate, and has shed his own blood for my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. And Lord, haste the day when my faith shall be sight, the clouds be rolled back as a scroll, the trump shall resound, and the Lord shall descend. Even so, it is well with my soul.